And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and I'm here with my co-host Stevie D. Stevie D, you know, we have not been consistent. We pledged to our subscribers, to our live stream watchers that we're going to be on Wednesdays. Then we go to Thursdays. There's been times that we have skipped weeks, so we went a full week. So I do want to apologize, especially with the fat man coming around. I want to make sure I'm on his good side and get plenty of good stuff in that stocking. So want to apologize to all of you. We will continue to try to stay consistent, and if we are not consistent, then we're giving you a heads up, right? Putting a note as to when our next live broadcast will be. But with all that being said, we're here. We're back in the saddle, ready to rock and roll, and just kind of going over, things that have been happening. I think on our last show, we talked about the Eagles. We had Tanya on here. We talked about the Eagles, what they were doing, and then we started to prep for the Bills and the Jets and the rematch. But when you're in the division, there's always going to be a rematch. And then other things that were happening in the NFL. And the biggest thing, Stevie D, before we start to get into our show topics today, the biggest thing that that I can see right now from an NFL perspective is that all of that weight has now culminated into 4 games left.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And thank goodness for both your team and for mine that we know that there's going to be a 5th, maybe a 6th, maybe a 7th, right? So we have a little bit more time on the clock. For other teams like the Houston Texans, they're in the spot where we were, right? Where it's like, I can't believe it's over. Thank goodness this is over, right? This is a nightmare, and on to the draft. So, we have a few more weeks that we can continue this dialogue, right? Which is the good dialogue. The one thing that we failed to talk about, right? We talked about early, and then all of a sudden it started to wane. And I know why it started to wane. And that is the OW Sports Fantasy Football League.
We got a fantasy football league?
The OW Sports Fantasy Football League, in which we are in the playoffs first week. And all I have to say is we're going to have to rewind the tape because there was a little wager that took place between Stevie D's team and my team.
Yeah, my team didn't show up this year. Oof.
And it was not looking good. Well, it wasn't looking good for either one of us.
No, but it's funny, when you get the draft grades, yeah. I got a D on my draft grade.
Well,
so I knew it was going to be rough. Even though I start off 1-0, shoot, I may even start off 2-0. Yeah, not so good since then.
I started out 0-2 or something like that. But I had to call. I called Brandon Bean. I was like, Brandon, I need help. Because here's the situation. I have a wager with my podcasting co-host, Stevie D. He's like, oh, yeah. I watch you guys all the time. I said, thanks, Brandon. And I said, I need some help because we're in a 12-team league. My roster.
Thing. I don't like 12-team leagues.
Well, he said, you're in a real man's league. I said, thank you.
I don't like the real man's league. I do not like the real man's league.
And I said, I need help. And throughout the season, I've been tapping into a resource that's helped me out along the way. And that resource.
So you needed help. Help.
Oh, I did. I'll be the first to tell you. You
broke the rules. You broke the rules of engagement.
I didn't break it. You just said you didn't look for resources. That's not my fault, right? You use Google.
I used that built-in app, right? That when you're going through and figuring out who it is. Oh, projected points. Okay, it must be true. It's in Yahoo.
So, needless to say, somehow we made a run towards the end of the year. We didn't get the bye, but that's okay. Just like the teams in the NFL who are making that run late, we're in the playoffs, and that's all that matters. Now we're going to be a one and done.
So, but where did you end up as far as the playoff seeds? We have what, the top 4 teams make it?
The top 6.
Top 6. Where did you fall in the seeding?
I'm the 3rd team, so I'm the top of the yeah. Well, we're gonna be one and done.
Right? So you got the 4. So you're playing the 4.
No, I play the 6. It's 3-6. So I'm the 3rd.
Oh, because you got to buy. Because you got to buy.
Right. So 1 and 2 get the buys. I'm 3, so I got 6. And I already looked at the matchup. Not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty at all. I need some luck. I do need some luck. What was interesting though, the top, I got to give it up to Gerald, right? Gerald has been the consummate OWS top dog performer, right? He's always he was undefeated for half the year this year, putting up the most points. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what's in the water in West Virginia. Anyways, kudos to Gerald. Kudos to the OW sports team led by Vince. And
I'm glad you finally got out of last place.
Yeah.
So the first time in 5 years you got out of last place.
And you can see the smile from ear to ear. Right? We did something.
Your rebuild is complete.
It is. It is. So we'll see what happens. But let's move over to why everybody's here. They don't want to hear about our fantasy football. Yes, I did forget about this gentleman who ended up in the cellar just like you.
Is he in the cellar or because I don't think I'm in last place?
Oh no, I think you are.
No, I'm not in last place. I went on a little bit of a streak there towards the end to get out of the dungeon.
You know what I want to know, Jay, is why are you here now? Right?
Where were you last week?
Exactly. We brought your girl back. Tanya, Sherelle Devine came on.
Who even asked about you?
Yes. She was talking all this Eagle smack, right?
We told her that you stopped being an Eagle fan, that you were unhappy that Jalen Hurts is the quarterback and you wanted to bring back Wentz. And she lost it on the show last week, Jay. Lost it. What is this guy talking about? That's why we had to drop him in as part of a co-host here, right? I mean, that's why. But even though you retired,
All right,
well,
Jay.
Jay's got to come on for the playoffs, though, right, Jay? You got to come back for the playoffs.
What, our fantasy playoffs?
No.
Oh.
NFL playoffs.
All right, so we had a matchup, right? I'm not going to go into it too deep because that's out of respect for my co-host Stevie D, just like vice versa. 4 or 5 weeks ago, but I think we took the hiatus after that one. Not planned, but we took the hiatus after that one.
It was rough. It was a rough couple of days.
Due to HIPAA laws, I am not able to say why we took the hiatus. Excuse me, sir. But there's a couple things I want to call out, right? Tough game, right? It's a division game, so division games, no matter which division you're in, they're always tough, right? You have the Commanders versus whoever, Giants or Cowboys, tough games, right? In ours, you have Patriots versus whoever, Dolphins versus Jets versus they're tough games. And then CBD, we talked about it early, but I don't think we really realized it. You may have, but I don't think we really realized it till the season started going. Such a stout defense over there with the Jets. So, that automatically makes it hard, right?
Well, we didn't know that going into the season they were going to be.
We knew they'd be good, but that good.
Right. I mean, did we really think DJ Reed was going to be I think he's rated in the top 6 corners. Did we really think Sauce Gardner was going to be the number 1 rated corner this far into the season? Did we really think the Jets front four was going to get as much pressure as they're getting? Right. There's a lot of things we just didn't know. And when you're seeing it, I mean, for us being Jet fans, it's a nice change, a nice surprise. We knew we were going to be better, but
not us.
It's like, yeah, me. Yeah. But like when you talked about being tough, it's tough this year. the Jets have been a rollover for years in this division. I mean, look at what Buffalo did to the Jets last year. I mean, it was total domination last year. I mean, it was embarrassing, all right, the way, Buffalo, wiped the map up. So for the Jets to close that gap to get one win this year and play really tough that second game, it's like Saleh said, I'm going to mess up the quote. He says in the first game when they played, when the Jets won that game, and they said, Buffalo had 2 turnovers, you had a missed field goal and things, and then the Jets win the game. This week here, Buffalo forces the 2 turnovers, they make some plays, and they win the football game. And it's just, I was not upset after the game, and my son was really upset. He was really mad at Michael Carter, the running back, with the fumble, and I said, that's Matt Milano making a play, right? I mean, it's hard to punch a ball out. And when he was falling down to the ground, you got to give the credit to the player of getting this in there and punching it out. And it is what it is. But what a great football game. It truly turned out to be a great football game. I'm sure you guys were sweating it more, just like we were. But you guys got the win. We didn't. You guys made more plays. Good for you.
So, nice recap. What I want to talk about is Matt Milano.
Dude, beast.
Matt Milano has proven his value and worth in spades. But there are – well, before I get to Milano, because we're going to come back to this, Mike White can do no more to show his guts, his aptitude, his machismo, whatever you want to, associate to him, because he took a beating. I mean, a flat out beating. I heard Romo use the analogy to the Karate Kid, right?
Oh, yeah.
Daniel LaRusso is going to fight, right? Daniel LaRusso is going to fight. I actually, for those in the past the what are we, Gen Z, Gen X, whatever?
Gen X.
All right, so past us and earlier, right, to the baby boomers. There was a movie that was called Heaven Can Wait, right? One of the big actors back then.
Yeah. Heaven Can Wait. Yeah.
Okay. And in that movie, the quarterback was taken down, and he actually literally died on the field, right? I'm not saying that Mike White died, but Mike White is laying on the ground, writhing in pain. You can see his legs kicking back and forth uncontrollably, right? And you were like, that's it, right? He gets up after the commercial, goes to the locker room, right? Can barely breathe, right? Just struggling. And lo and behold, Mike White comes back out of that locker room. Heaven Can Wait style, Willis Reed style, Daniel LaRusso, if you want to go there, right? Nobody thought that I know personally, I didn't. I thought that was it, right? I thought that his time was done. And I thought that, they were going to have to go to Flacco. And then he comes back on the field knowing that his line and knowing that the defensive scheme from Buffalo was just going to wreak havoc on him. And they did. And the other thing that I compared it to was boxing, right? When you watch a fight and you see one of the fighters get cut, right? They get cut from a jab and you see that little trickle of blood coming down. That opposing fighter always goes after that eye, right? Because he can't see and he just keeps going after it. And that was very reminiscent to what happened there, right? Mike White was taking shot after shot after shot and kept getting back up. And again, more power to him. But at some point, somebody had to say enough is enough, right? Enough. This kid, his future, just as an individual, and his health is more important than the beating that he was taking on the field. I felt bad for him. I really did. I don't like injuries in football, right? I'll take them, right? I don't like to see people get hurt, but I really don't like to see people get really hurt, right? There's kind of that difference. And to me, at this point, you were jeopardizing spleen injuries. You were jeopardizing punctured lungs. You were jeopardizing massive amounts of broken because they just kept coming right after that midsection. It was
you wonder. That's why you wonder, was he really as hurt as it makes it seem? Because he went in and got tests and X-rays, and nothing was broken or anything that they saw when he went back to the locker room. You know, the first hit by Ed Oliver in the second quarter, I think it was 6 minutes left in the second quarter when Oliver got him the first time, and he said he just got the wind knocked out of him. And if you look at him, the hit was high, like right underneath the armpit. And credit again to Ed Oliver, and you can credit Ed Oliver. You can credit some of the rule changes that they had to protect the quarterback, right? And it is that Ed Oliver could have killed him, right? But he hit him, and then he took all his body weight off, and Mike went one direction, and Ed Oliver kind of stumbled and kept on his feet and went in another direction, right? And obviously, the hits kept coming. I mean, 51 dropbacks, 21 hits. That's a lot of hits in a game, right? 21. I mean, the percentage is what, 40%. So if you look at the hit by Milano, another great hit by Milano, textbook hit. He drilled him in the midsection, and then he let go. He let go of him, right? He was great with the shoulder, went into him, and then once he went through him, he just laid off and almost kind of like gently put Mike White down to the ground, and he went off to the side.
He folded him like a chair.
Oh, yeah.
Legs were, folded him like a chair. You're right. You know, sorry to step on you on this one, but you're right about textbook, right? There's been so many questions about how to tackle, right?
Yeah.
And I blame a lot of the coaches in Little League. I blame a lot of the coaches in high school. And I blame a lot of the coaches in college. But really, it's that Little League and high school where they think that they are making their way to the NFL, right, on the backs and shoulders of these little 12, 13, 14-year-old kids, where they're not teaching them the fundamentals, right? And by not teaching the fundamentals, they were, you want to drive with the head, right? And all of a sudden you start seeing all these neck injuries and the risk of paralysis, right? I can tell you unequivocally, back in the day, again, that quote unquote back in the day, when you were playing, that is the way that they taught you to tackle, right? Your head to the side, your head bowed up, your shoulders driving through the midsection, grabbing around the waist or underneath the waist, picking up and driving. That's how they taught you how to tackle. And that was it right there on display. And there have been stills to show each one all the way through. I mean, just perfect.
Russo got him. He could have killed him. He didn't. He got a shot in and did everything by the book. The way Buffalo handled, hitting Mike White. I know Jay said Mike is the future of the Jets. He's only played 5-6 games in the NFL, even though he's been around the league. I can't say he's going to be the starter, right? Zach Wilson, if he gets right, he's got a higher upswing than they say. That's what the story is, right? He's got a higher upswing than by Mike White. I like the kid, but I'm not.
The problem for Mike White is that he wasn't a first-round draft pick.
Right, he's a fifth rounder. Cut 4 times or 5 times from different teams, right? But you know what? It's like the Kurt Warner. Now, I'm not a Kurt Warner guy. Right. But it's like, here's a guy that was bagging groceries. Next thing you know, he's flinging the ball for the Rams and winning the Super Bowl. So, when does that light click on? When does all of that start happening for you? It's a great story. I think he commands the offense really well. The team loves playing for him. He does throw a pretty pass. And I like the size. Love the size. I think that's part of Zach Wilson's knock is that he's, we always talk about the smaller quarterback.
Jay, what Steve is saying, size matters.
It always does, but don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you.
L, this is for you. This is our foray into OW Sports After Dark. But yeah. Okay.
But, in the end, I think Mike White, as long as he's healthy, he's going to play this week and he's going to finish out the year. And the Jets got a decision because Mike White is a free agent at the end of the year. And what do you do? But I like the kid. I do. I mean, he's got.
Zach Wilson is your number 2.
Yeah, this week he is. Well, can you put Joe Flacco back out? I mean, he came in the
Yes.
first time. The first time he came in, I said, oh, all right. I turned to Rich. I said, oh, they're going to run the ball. No, he threw the ball. Now, our tight end Conklin was open in that seam, and he airmails Conklin. Now, can I blame Flacco for airmailing it? It's your first play of the game. It's cold. It's the conditions aren't the greatest. I can't kill you, but man, it would have been nice to make that throw. And then he comes in the second time. I'm saying, no, this time surely they're going to run the football because he wasn't real effective throwing it. No, first back, bam, he fumbles the football, right? And it's just like, you got to be kidding me. And if you would have heard the F-bombs coming out of my mouth in the house when he fumbled, because there's no reason for him to be throwing that football right there. It should have been a run. It should have been a run.
No, that's your coach's fault. That's not Flacco's fault.
No, correct. You're absolutely right. My anger is definitely not on Joe Flacco for fumbling the football. Again, Richard's going nuts. It's not Joe Flacco's fault. It's the coach not reading the room. Get the guy some snaps on the, even if you have to punt the football because you ran the ball 3 times, let the guy get into the flow, right? It's not like it's 60 degrees and sunny out. The wind, the rain, and then it turned to snow. It was cold. He's coming off the bench. Give him a couple plays just to get some snaps and handoffs, get the blood flowing through the body. No, we have to go right into the throwing, and and it backfired. But that's our OC. He doesn't. I don't think he sees it that way. He has his game plan. He doesn't care who's quarterback or what the scenario is. It's almost like it's this time on the clock. This is the score. This is the play I'm running. Instead of saying, okay, our quarterback just went out. Let's get this guy acclimated to the game. Let's do a couple of runs. If we got a punt, again, what do we say? Take the sack. Don't throw the interception. The OC, you have responsibility to the situation. Run the ball. Let the backup get acclimated to the game, and then let him throw it. No, we didn't do that. So kudos to the Bills. They owned the pass rush all game. They created the turnover, and they created points off that turnover. So
very glad to see that pass rush too without Von Miller, and obviously will not have Von Miller for the rest of the year. You could see they in the post game celebration in the locker room. Von was part of it through FaceTime or Skype or whatever they were using, but you can see he's still part of the team. But I really was happy with the pass rush. It just needs to stay consistent, right? Because one of the things that even when Miller was in there that I think I talked about on the show a few times is that it looked like the pass rush was kind of in a lull, right? And maybe it's because of injuries. And the one thing I will say, talking about injuries, Jordan Poyer out again this week against Miami. Another big, they ruled him out already.
For what? How did he get hurt in that game?
He's had injuries from week 1.
Right. I just thought he was healthy enough because he's been playing.
No, it's like on, off, almost like where I need 2 weeks rest to heal up the injury, but it's not really healed. And then I re-aggravate it, and now I need, you keep going back and forth.
Gotcha.
He's such a warrior and such a pivotal part to that defense. But the one thing I will say, for the most part, is that, and I'm knocking on wood, we had our injuries in weeks 1, 2, 3, 4-ish, maybe 5, and then that started to turn the corner. You're starting to see teams now who were able to withstand that first barrage, right? And they didn't have injuries there. Now all of a sudden they're starting to get it. I'm going back to your Jets, right? There's some key injuries on your side of the ball that are starting to mount up.
Quinnen Williams, I thought was a huge factor in that game. He was dominating the first quarter and a half up the middle. You lose him, that was huge the rest of the way because we couldn't generate pass rush once he was gone because we don't have our backup in the middle is not near Quinnen Williams.
Hold on. I'm going to be nice. I was being nice. No excuses here, there.
What?
DeCole. No excuses.
What am I making an excuse about?
Trying to say that with Williams out, then all of a sudden everything changed.
No, but it's part of it, right? He had 2 sacks.
But where I'm going with that is that what you have to be mindful of is that you have Williams out. That's a big key. You also have Font, right? That was a big key. Well,
he's been hurt all year. He's been an enigma this year, right? Because he had such a great last year. He was so great at left tackle.
But
And
it
he's
seemed
at
like
right
when
tackle right
when
now.
he went out, that's when the barrage started to happen. That open turnstile. Maybe I'm wrong, right?
Well, he wasn't out very long.
Okay.
He went out when Mike White went out, but
Right.
Fant came back a series later, or
Okay.
maybe a 2 series later. He came back in. Now, again, the person who came in for Fant was, a nobody, right? So that doesn't help. But it was only
And
1 or 2 series that he was out.
and then what's up with Corey Davis? Because it looked like he
Concussion.
was
He
coming.
took a knee to the back of the head.
So are you starting to pile up? Because again, when I look at the Buffalo side, we're starting to get these guys back healthy.
Our
You
line is
guys,
still a little bit of a mess. A rookie right tackle, Max Mitchell, that one hurts. He had blood clots. So he went with a surgery and health. I mean, he's done for the year for blood clots. They're finding multiple blood clots. And I just hope, football aside, the
that's
guy that,
serious stuff.
oh, yeah, very serious, because he had knee surgery and he was out for 4 weeks. And then he came back the week before Buffalo, and he was playing like crap, like really bad. And then because they weren't going to play Fant the week before Buffalo game, but Max was so bad that they had to bring Fant in. And then later the Buffalo week, we find out that he was done for the year. And like all the fans are saying, "Oh, he's in the doghouse because he played so bad." And then his father came out and said that his son's suffering from multiple blood clots in 2 different areas. And I believe they're contributing that from the fallout from the surgery of the knee. So at the end of the day, you hope he gets better. But our O-line is a little bit banged up on the right side. Our left side is not. And Corey Davis has been inconsistent with injuries with the knee. He missed like 3 weeks there. And now with the concussion, I don't know if he's going to make it back this year. So that injury.
Do you think that concussion is more than just a 1 week, 2 week thing?
I think it's just 1 week. I think it's going to be 1 week. But
And then is the question of Mike White, right? I don't believe anything that I hear from anybody anymore.
Now when it comes to the Jets and injuries, we lie out the teeth.
Well, so does Miami, so does everybody else. McDermott, he doesn't lie. He just doesn't tell you anything, right? What's going on Sutton? Don't really know right now, being evaluated. Von Miller, we already knew Von Miller, right? And then all of a sudden, well, we're gonna play this week to week instead of day to day.
And Von said 7 to 10 days, I'll be back. That was a good sell, Von. That was a good.
And then all of a sudden, well, yeah, we're going to shut it down on the IR. Well, you already knew this, right? You get that first MRI, there's no doubt about it. So I don't trust what I hear, right? Sometimes you can only trust what you see. Mike White looks more severe than what I'm hearing.
Playing. Nah, he's going to play.
He's not playing, but it looks more severe than what I'm hearing, right? And that then lends itself to, are you playing at 80%? Are you playing at 70%? Right?
Mike White is going to lie, steal, and cheat to get on that football. This is his chance. And if he's going to go down, he's going to go down hurt, but he's going to give it everything he's got because he doesn't know what the future holds.
But doesn't that hurt you? Doesn't that hurt you?
You know what?
Because now you're going to put
I don't want Joe Flacco out there. I don't want Joe Flacco out there. Zach, I don't know if he's ready.
According to Salah, he's ready because he's done all the right things. And he listened and he watched it. So we're going to promote him to number 2.
Let me tell you something. You want to say fans don't run the ship, but every now and again, the fans run the ship. And when Joe Flacco came in and did what he did and showed no energy and I don't want to be out there, the fans were hammering all week about Joe Flacco, and I don't think they had a choice. They had to promote Zach Wilson after that.
The funny thing is,
that's his normal face.
We said this. He came in 2 seasons ago and like, this guy does not want to be here, right? He was ducking off a pass. Oh well. All right, I digress. For us, we have Miami this Saturday.
Come on, Buffalo, baby. Come on, baby. Come on.
Well, here's the interesting thing, right? Buffalo had a game that because of the weather that they had to move the game to Detroit, right? The NFL decides, Oh, Buffalo, Miami. Now, this is before Miami's 2-game skid, right? Oh, Buffalo, Miami. We got to move this into prime time. You just moved this game into another weather disaster. There's going to be so much snow. It's very reminiscent to the Indianapolis game. Oh, yeah.
I only heard like 7 inches of snow, maybe.
Oh, no.
So this could be like a true snow game?
This could be like the Indianapolis game.
Snowing during the game.
Yes. They moved. The timing of it is exactly when the meteorologists are predicting the heaviest snowfall. So
if they would have moved, they changed the game time. They could have at least gave them Saturday the early game and given the other team the night game and not have to worry about it.
Yes, you could have. But they, all about the ratings and everything else. And
but it plays into your hands. It plays into your hands more than Miami.
It does. But sometimes it becomes an equalizer.
I forgot. Tua says it did snow in Alabama, so he's complaining the snow.
And Mike McDaniel says we like the cold. Yeah, okay. Yeah. The only thing that see, it becomes a great equalizer. But the only thing that I'm happy about, right, is that week 2 game down at Hard Rock Stadium where it was 150 degrees, right, and you're sitting there and they put you on the side. All's fair in love and war, but they put you on the side where there's never any shade in that stadium, right? And so you're baking. And I lost 15 guys. It may have been just for that game, but 15 guys because of cramps, because of other injuries, and everything that went down. And Miami sitting in there in their white on white uniforms, on their cooled seats, fans, misters, the whole night, and in the shade, talking about, I don't understand. What's the problem, right? Well, payback's a B, okay? Because now you're going to have to sit up here in the snow and, whatever you could do, make sure that those plugs for those heaters don't work, right? Matter of fact, put the misters on there so that snow starts to accumulate a little ice type so that they're really playing in the elements. Yeah, that game that sticks to me because we should have won that game, right? And what caused us to lose was the fact that every single man player that we had went down in that game. Cramps, dehydration, and other injuries. Go ahead, Stevie D.
The rumor has it that it's Highmark Stadium, back when it was, what was the old name of it?
Rich Stadium.
Right. Okay. That Ralph down in the basement, they're going to bring out the heaters from 1982 and put them on that sideline. They may work. They may get electrocution. That's the rumor. That all of a sudden the normal heaters for that side, they're in for repair. But they said, don't worry. I think we got some heaters down there still in the basement that we're going to bring out. So all, like you said, all love of war, whatever you said there.
All fair and love and war. Yeah. Now, when you look at Tyreek Hill, he's hurt, right? He's got a busted tire, and it's funny. Even him running on we had a sore ankle, sprained ankle, whatever it was. He's still the fastest guy on the field. Did you see the play where the ball just squirted out and he decided that he was going to run all the way around?
When he went to the outside and he got to the out, he was so fast. I don't think I've ever watched a football player run that fast. And he was all open. Nobody was near him. But I felt like I was watching the old tape of Babe Ruth running around the bases like it was on fast forward, because that's how fast the cheetah ran down that sideline. I couldn't believe how fast he was. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous speed.
But and that's still on that sore ankle, right? They kept icing the ankle, and then he'd go back in the game, ice the ankle just to keep the swelling down. With this time and in these conditions, it's definitely going to slow him down. He is not one to be impacted by the weather. He played in Kansas City, so he's used to that. And honestly, I don't think the weather really impacts the other guys. I think it's us, the fans. I think it's the analysts that make more of a big deal.
Yeah, I do think there is something with the weather when it gets to the really cold, frigid temps. I think it does. If you're playing right around 20 to 25 degrees, yeah, I don't think so. But if you're getting into that bitter cold and now you're adding snow, to me, Tua doesn't throw a really good football to begin with, and now you're going to put him in those elements, and I don't know how he's going to throw football.
That's a good point, but that's a different take, right? They down here in Tampa, they used to say, whenever it's below 40 degrees, the Buccaneers can't win. That's nonsense, right? That's just a point in time in game. It's not the elements, because both teams have to play in those same elements, right? So it is what it is there. Now, the people that you have in these positions and in these roles, do they have the attributes to perform there, to your point, right? Is your team made to be able to handle those type of elements? I remember when we played Indianapolis, right? That's a dome team, right? Even though they're in Indiana, dome team, you would say, well, the dome team's not used to this, right? They like the 72 degrees. But that became a running game, right? It really was not a passing game. That was run left, run right, punt. Run left, run right, punt, right? And Buffalo had Shady. Jay, if you're still watching, Buffalo had Shady. Great trade, too, by the way. A little segue, Stevie. Great trade with the Eagles to pull off Shady McCoy for the legend that is Kiko Alonso. Just saying. But anyways, the infamous LaShawn McCoy run, to kind of seal that game. It took it out of the passing game. And that may be what we see again here, right? The benefit for Buffalo may be the X factor of Josh Allen. Right? Because waiting to see if you were still there, Jay, talking about the legend that is Kiko. But the X factor may be Josh Allen here, right? Because you're going to be looking at if the weather truly rises to that same level, you're going to look for a game that's going to be a lot of runs, right? Occasionally a pass, but you're not going to want to throw a pass. Plus, like I know, the snow coming down with the lights at night, you can't see. You just can't see, right? And so you're going to expect a wide receiver, to probably go no more than 10 max yards before the ball's coming, right? So it's going to be tough. But it will be enjoyable to see Miami in the white on white. You guys like the white on white so much, Miami? Oh, come on and wear those white on white when it's cold, all right? And you're I'm freezing.
And let me tell you, that's just one of a couple of rough games left for Miami. Miami doesn't have it easy down the stretch at all. If they want to make the playoffs, it's going to be really tough for them to make it. And same thing with New England. They got a rough schedule. I think they still got they got Cincinnati left on their schedule. So, and I think they got Miami. So it's going to be interesting where New England fall. I don't think New England gets past 8 victories this year. I just think the way the schedule falls, and I can see Miami finishing at 9, maybe 10, because Miami right now is in a funk, right? They're not the same football team they were weeks ago. They just seem, I think Mike McDaniels is out of sorts. Like something's just a little bit off that they think they have it fixed, but going into a snowstorm is not going to help getting that fixed. So,
not at all. Yeah. Not at all. So how about your Jets this week? We talked about the Bills-Dolphins. Your Jets this week.
Yeah, we got Detroit at home. Detroit is a much better home team than they are away team as far as scoring points. Like I said, I don't really fear anybody now from an offensive side of the ball. We've gone up against some good offenses, and we've done well. So where in the years past, I'm like, oh God, the Jets defense. Oh my God, what are we going to do? So I'm feeling comfortable there. It's just a matter of can we protect our quarterback. And but I don't know. They have a good running game, Williams, and then they got Swift, and then on the offensive side of the ball, they got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they got Jamison Williams, the wide receiver. He's back from injury. And look, they're a good team. I don't know much about their defense outside of Aiden, which I think he's having a pretty good year for a rookie. But I think it's a winnable game. I'm sure Detroit says the same thing. It's a winnable game. It's a winnable game for the Jets.
The only thing for when I look at Detroit, their wins, they've been stacking wins, right? Again, I go back to what you say, and what you say is so true, right? But there is something to it, right? Detroit has been stacking wins, and you have to give them kudos. But they are not wins against that top caliber opponent. right? And so sometimes they can be deceptive wins, right? For a team like Detroit, any win is a good win, right? And no disrespect to your Jets. Your Jets were at that point where any win is a good win because now you're showing that you can win and you know how to win, right? But I think your wins have been stronger than their wins. And so when I look at them coming up against you, again, you're talking about the league, one of the league's best defenses out there. Jared Goff doesn't stand a chance out there.
Yeah,
Does not stand a chance. If you're playing daily fantasy, and we don't promote any gambling, we don't promote any type of, don't call us and ask, hey, I'm in a PPR league and I got 2 wide receivers. Who do I select? We're not the ones, right? Obviously, we talked about it earlier. We're not the ones. But for this one, Jared Goff going up against the Jets defense, yeah, good luck with that. Because I am not a Jared Goff fan.
Because I look at Detroit's defense, I mean, they've given up tons of 30-point games, one 40-point game. So their defense gives up a lot of points. So I don't look at their defense and say, wow, they're really good that they can shut it down. So that's why, when you have a defense that plays well, you're in every game. It's a matter of, can you make enough plays on an offense that normally is not a big time scorer? Can you make enough plays to get a victory? So again, it's a winnable game. I don't think Quentin Williams is going to play this week. He hasn't practiced. He's got a calf injury, the same injury he had in training camp that sidelined him for some time in training camp. So I could see this being a 1 to 2 week injury for Quentin Williams. And Corey Davis, I don't think is going to play either from the concussion protocol. So, look, they still have plenty of weapons. It's a matter of Mike White distributing the football. Bam Knight had a good game. I tell you,
he won pick that you guys had there.
Yeah. And he won Rookie of the Week this week, and that's the 10th time a Jet player has won. But this one I question more than any other the ones we won, because I just thought the other Jets have earned their belts, if you will. But this one, I got to say, I don't think he should have gotten it. I thought Brock Purdy should have gotten it for his performance for the 49ers. I thought he had a heck of a performance out there in San Francisco, and they killed the Bucs, right? It was like 35-7. I thought he should have gotten the Rookie of the Week. So I was really surprised that Bam Knight got it over Purdy, but I'll take it. It's probably the Jet fans stuffing the Pepsi vote. It's all right. It's all good. So, yeah, that's a little bit of the Jet report.
So, Stevie D, as we look around the landscape, the Chiefs narrowly escaped, and they did it to themselves, right? They were up, 27-0, and then all of a sudden they completely took their foot off the gas pedal. I mean, they almost they put it in park. It's really what they did, because Russell Wilson, we already know, is not good, right? Oh, before we go into that, did you hear the comments from Kelsey about Russell Wilson?
No, I don't think I did.
You have to read the comments. So I guess they were talking pregame, and the end of it was Kelsey's take was Russell seemed like somebody who would talk to Mahomes' little brother. He'd hang out with Mahomes' little brother talking about Harry Potter and all this other stuff. And Kelsey was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it just kind of went away. Those were bulletin board comments. I don't know if it was shade because it's Kansas City, Denver. I don't know if it's shade because it's just Russell and, who knows what Russell's going on. But I thought Russell had his best game as a Denver Bronco. Yeah, I really did.
It was I didn't really get to watch a lot of the game because Richard was signing his official letter of intent at his baseball academy. They had a big thing party there, and so
we have video of this.
I think we have photos somewhere.
Okay.
And the interceptions is what allowed Denver to get back in the game, and what people were saying, again, I didn't see it. By the time we got to the place to go get something to eat, it was 34-28, and I said, wait a minute, it was just 27-0, and then you get to the place to eat, it was 34-28, and then they went into it. And just my take, listen to others around town, is that, again, that hero ball that Mahomes, right, and you start doing, because that was a ridiculous pass he made for the touchdown for like 55 yards, right, that no look. I don't even know what he did, right? And that was incredible. But some of the interceptions he made were really ill-advised. You really weren't thinking. And that allowed the Broncos to get a little momentum swing and push the ball downfield and get back in the game. But, man, did he take a brutal hit.
Yeah.
Dialed into the ground, man.
Yeah.
Oof.
And it just came out. It wasn't good, and that was it, right? That was the end of the run.
Yeah, because that would have been great to see Russell pull that off, right? And now he's probably going to be out at least 1 week. But did you see the zoom in of him on the ground? There was a video floating where whoever had the video somehow was able to zoom in, and you saw his eyes, and he was on another planet when they zoomed in on his eyes. You knew right then and there he was out.
Mm-hmm.
And when I don't know if we're done talking about the Chiefs Broncos, but
Sure.
when we talk about the NFL and they have eyes in the sky, okay, that you're paying somebody to watch TV. And look, my dad was a retired Teamster, right? And he was a union guy, right?
They were glazed.
Right. Yes. Perfect, Gerald. Thank you. Because that's probably the word I should have used. Is my dad's a retired Teamster, right? So I can make fun of unions. But I'll tell you, whoever was monitoring the New England Patriots game,
oh yes,
Devontae Parker must have been on a union break and missed that play because the guy couldn't even get up. Even when he got up, if you looked at his face, he was another one that was glazed and on another planet. And thank God Aguilar had the wherewithal to just jump up in the air, right, to get the play to stop, to get him off the field. That's what's so mind-boggling about the NFL, and you wonder why people say games are rigged. How can that have been missed? How can that have been missed? We're so far past that. What, a couple of years ago we saw that happen with I think a quarterback or whatever that was totally. I mean, he almost fell back down to the ground. It was Tua earlier in the year, right? We saw that with Tua, and we saw it a couple of years ago. And every time they said we're going to fix it, and then 3 years later, Tua happens, right? And now what are we? I don't know, 8 weeks later, and we missed that. So you didn't learn anything from the Tua thing. You learned absolutely nothing from the Tua thing. Because now we have late hits on the quarterbacks that weren't deserved, right? That came out of the Tua hit. You've had now players getting, what happened to Devontae Parker, and nobody's buzzing from the top. But yet they're taking other players out of the game, and they're leaving the field like, what are you talking about? What do you mean I got to go into the – like, you can tell just by their attitude and what they're saying when the camera zooms in, and they're like I didn't even get hit in the head. What are you talking about? But you have to go now and get checked out and be off the field. But you missed Devontae Parker? Please, with this player safety stuff. And that's probably one of those get off my chest moments. But it's really, the segue from Russell Wilson. They stopped the play. They got him off the field. And then you fast forward, 24 hours, and you go to the Patriots game, and nobody picks up Devontae Parker. Like, the NFL should be investigating how that wasn't buzzed down, because you have a flaw right there. How does that happen? I don't understand.
You bring back player safety, and this goes just like how we have our Hall of Fame conversations, right? We keep beating the drum on this. If the NFL was so concerned about player safety, there would not be Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a game tonight. Yep.
Period. You don't need it. You've jumped on this one because you figured you could grab the spotlight, right? Fridays are kind of high school football, maybe college football. Saturdays in the early part of the year, college football. So this is the earliest you could get and the latest that you could get a game.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so you want to have this, but you don't realize, the ramifications that it has to the guys that actually have to play this on this short week. You talk about player safety. You don't care about player safety, and I don't want to hear that you do. I don't want to hear that you're having symposiums on how we can make the game safer, because you don't care, right? You care about the bottom line. The bottom line says we can maximize our advertising dollars, and we can maximize our revenue by playing on this day, right? The only reason why there's going to be this Saturday game, why there was a flex for these 3 games on Saturday, is because college football has come to a conclusion. That's the only reason, right? Other than that, these games will be back on Sunday. If you really cared, you would have Sunday and maybe that one game on Monday.
Yep.
Period. So, but Stevie D, we could go on and on. As I said, this is something that we talk about all the time. And we can rail on that. And it goes to Roger Goodell. It's all about the dollars in the pockets. And then you want to wave the flag that you're all about safety.
Yeah. So, if you go to our IG account, right, and you go and you click and look at our reels, there's a video we posted out there on when Justin Fields played the Detroit Lions a few weeks back, and they killed Justin Fields on a play.
Hold on. Let's stop right there. When you go where?
IG.
Okay. We got a social media presence.
I'm just saying, well, we have a reel out there that, and the question was posed, should this be called roughing the passer, right? Because a few weeks before that, you had the joke of a sack on Tom Brady, right? Jarrett from the Falcons. I mean, the guy didn't even put his weight on him, spun him around, and laid him down to the ground, and it was a penalty, all because of the Tua, right? Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, you fast forward X amount of – I think there was 2 that weekend. I'm forgetting the other one that was probably worse than that one that was called a roughing the passer. And then
there was 2. There was 2, but this was the most egregious.
Okay. And so now you fast forward to the Lions-Bears game in Chicago, and Justin Fields is trying to pass, and he gets hit, and he gets spun around, and then they're chasing him. And, oh, my God, like five Lions just mauled him. See what I did there? Mauled him, and no flag. Now, some may say he was maybe out of the pocket. Come on, you got to give me credit for that one, right? Come on, you got to give me something. Come on, Jay. You're still here, Jay. Tell me that was a good one.
You mean the Oilers? The Oilers will drill them.
Right. I mean, it's right on the same pad. I mean, come on. The Lions were chasing them, and then they mauled them. I mean,
the Chargers will light them up.
The Bills now you're busting my chops, okay?
The Bills will stampede.
Right. Well, okay. All right. You get the point now.
The Eagles will fly south.
Jay, that's a direct hit. I think Jay made a comment. You better check it. There you go. And it was just one of those. You look at that play, and like, how is not that roughing the passer, right? And so, if you have some time, check us out on Instagram and look at that reel, and let us know what you think about that, because it was really a joke that wasn't called. So, but anyway.
All right. Well, very good. And thank you for segueing to our social media, because you can check us out on what is that again? IG?
The gram, man. You got to go to the gram.
On the gram. So we're all over the place, right? We're on the gram. We do have a MySpace account, right? We look for Tom. No, but in all seriousness, you can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or IG, Twitter. We throw out some tweets on there. And of course, you can always come back and watch a previous episode, or you can watch us live on YouTube. So, we're out there. Love just talking sports and love the feedback from everybody that we talk to. Again, it was a interesting week. It's always tough when Jets and Bills play, right? A little silence in between, a little silence afterwards. I give kudos to my man Stevie D. I got the one-word text or the one-line text, which meant that we were still upset. Didn't really want to talk about it, but
I said great game. I think I said great game. It was a great game.
It did, and that was it, right? Yeah. And I didn't know how to respond, so I had to sit there for a while, like, was that a text of I'm still stewing, but I have to do what I have to do, right? Like the concession.
I was not stewing at all. I was not stewing. My son was stewing, but I wasn't. I was more pissed about the Vikings loss.
And then I threw just a little text back, and then I saw the 3 dots, and I said, "Oh, okay, it's time we can talk." And then we went back, but you have to be careful, right? And the same thing happened a few weeks ago, right? You just don't know, but we're past all of that, and
go squish the fish. That's all I ask. Squish the fish.
Yeah. So that's going to bring this one to a close. We do appreciate everybody jumping on, and we will try to be more diligent in our either scheduling of our episodes, which is typically Wednesdays at 8:00. But as life has it, if we have to shift, we're going to let you know, right? We're going to let you know that we're shifting because it's important, right? And we appreciate all of you out there who have given us a like, given us a subscribe, and continue to follow us and continue to interact. Jay, you're always welcome, and we love it. So for my co-host Stevie D, I'm Vince.